So we did build this 10-foot long model of the interior and the exterior of the institute. Unfortunately, that model ended up in a dumpster, so you can't.
What?
Yeah. The thing is, we didn't have any money at that time. When we wrapped this movie, there was no money to store that or to send it back to the United States. If it was now, A24 would have sent the model over here and we could put it on display.
Expecting people to understand the meaning of the structure as it was being built? Like, I'm sure there's some discussion about that. You're making this film, the community center as, I don't want to call it like, concentration camp, sort of sense memory, that's right, the tragedy in there. Is that something that is meant to really be driven home only in the epilogue, or is it
I
something?
think so. I mean, I definitely designed it so that it gets all of that would come across if you could enter that building. It was interesting and I would even say fun to do that because you could build the building and because it was designed as a building. I mean, someone would have to do all the boring infrastructure part, but and it did. And it was more and more interesting to do it the farther along I went. But you did enter by descending very steeply into the ground, and also the staircase got narrower as you descended, so that by the end you really were imprisoned in this building in a corridor with very low ceilings, and then you exited through a very into the light on a broad staircase. And we built a model of it that was used as an in-camera, miniature as a VFX model. So, and you see it in the film. And Lowell shot it. It was inspired by a photo we had of the first Star Wars, where we saw three guys shooting in the desert, like a model of one of the space vehicles. So, and I later met the guy that made that model just by chance at a Q&A. So it was really funny. But anyway, so we did build this big, like not 10-foot long model of the interior and the exterior of the institute. So you could actually have gone through it with like one of those miniature cameras and seen the whole institute, which was great. Unfortunately, that model ended up in a dumpster, so you can't.
What?
Yeah, well, this is how movies are so wasteful, and
I guess. I mean, they still have like the Friends set lives somewhere, I guess, like, right? I mean,
it does.
I mean, I don't know, maybe not.
Maybe it does. I don't know. But the thing is, we didn't have any money at that time. When we wrapped this movie, there was no money to store that or to send it back to the United States. So I think if it was now, like, yeah, someone A24 would have sent the model over here and we could put it on display, but it wasn't the same way when we wrapped it. So yeah. So anyway, I don't think an audience could realize all of this. I don't think by watching the movie you could, but it's there. So in some sense, maybe subconsciously, some of that comes across. We did build a lot of those entrances going into the ground. You see that in the construction site. You see them coming out of it when they're coming out of a quarry with a lot of blueprints and things at the construction site. So I think some of that, the fact that it's so far underground, they talk about it. And then at the end, when they're searching for Harrison, you see them going through that, the waterworks of the building, with the flashlight, and which was a location. So I think that sense that a lot of this building is underground and that relationship to darkness does come through. The very specific way in which it was designed, maybe not.